Well, hello, world. This is the third in a series of, I hope, many discussions that I can have with you to help you overcome some of your challenges, some of the things that you're facing in the world, and maybe I can give you a little help to deal with uh, the challenges you face every day. My name is Matt Mudderman. I'm the author of Your Life is Up to You. Again, your life is up to you. Choices have consequences, and you have to decide every day how you deal with things that come to your attention and how you cope with them in a positive way to prevent you from making choices that will limit your ability to make dreams. Today's topic, one of the most important topics that I can share with you from my journey, is education. This session is going to deal with many of the issues that you face, that I faced when I was growing up. And I want you to be able to understand that there's nothing more important than your education in terms of your future dreams. If you want to break free of poverty and government subsidies, education, along with your effort, is going to make the difference. I start with sharing with you some of the experience that I've had, and along the way explain to you decisions made are going to drive how things impact your life on a go-forward basis. Again, you should expect a safe educational environment. If you're being bullied, if you're being threatened because maybe you're the smartest kid in the room, if you are in an unsafe environment, bring it to the attention of the administrators of your school. They should be able to take action and help you to have a safe learning environment. But if they don't, you have to figure out how you can get into a safe learning environment. A magnet school, a private school, a Catholic school that maybe your parish will recommend. Something, a vocational school, something that will get you out of a high-risk, no-reward educational environment to one that allows you to get your high school degree. This is imperative, and you're the only one that can push the authorities, the administrative people, or others around you to help you get to a school of learning so that you can get your high school education. At another time, I'll talk to you about college education. I'll share with you at the end of the session how I ended up going to college even without an SAT or ACT test. Let me start with my experience. When I left my middle school to go to high school, moving across town because I was basically orphaned and living with my oldest brother. My first day of school was with a public education school system in Whitten Terrace. The school system was predominantly Black, but that didn't really matter. What mattered is almost every class that I attended on that first day of school, I was threatened either by being bullied or by my own safety being threatened with being beat up. And through the course of the day, after attending 5 different classes, my freshman year, the first day of school, I decided, well, this is not a school that I can learn from. This is not a school that I can grow from. Now, I failed to talk to the administrators of the school, and I should have, but I didn't. Instead, on my walk home to my brother's house, who was my guardian at the time, I decided I'm going to change schools. I don't know how, but I'm going to change schools. And so when I got home, I called a priest friend of mine from my middle school, Father Chappelle, and I asked him, is there anything that he can do to help me? So through the Catholic school system and the Catholic Church and that relationship, that mentor with him, he made a few phone calls. And before I knew it, I was enrolling into a school called Roger Bacon High School in St. Bernard. I met with the principal on the first day. He talked about school. He talked about extracurricular activities, football, and so I enrolled. I was able to join the freshman football team, and I began my education at Roger Bacon High School. Through the course of that freshman year, I did well. I maintained my school grades. I worked hard to make sure that I was learning, because I knew that I needed to do well enough to pass. I was not a genius. I was not the top student. I was an average student. But I put the effort forward to get my education. Fast forward to spring of that year in March, I needed to skip football practice track practice. And I went home with a friend to my brother's house. My brother kept a loaded shotgun because we weren't in the best of neighborhoods behind the couch. I went to the kitchen and walked around to the living room where a friend of mine 3 feet away pointed the shotgun at me and pulled the trigger. I was shot in the left side of my chest under my armpit and almost died. I'm going to give a separate section about that specific incident next, but for this time, I just want to talk about the education. So over the coming months, after a month and a half in the hospital and near-death experiences, Roger Bacon High School rallied the troops to do a fundraiser for me, an actual blood drive for me, so that they could replenish the blood. I lost every single pint of blood that I had in my body over the course of time, and the blood drive replenished 32 ounces of blood. But the most important thing about that event from a school perspective is the school rallied behind me and decided that they would allow me to attend that freshman year out at home, and people would take turns bringing me schoolwork and homework assignments to my house. And back and forth that went through the end of the school year. I graduated from the freshman class because I was focused, even though not completely well. I was focused to attend school and to get passing grades. The next year came along, the sophomore year, and the school was very generous in their mentorship, and they even put my face on the separation page between the freshman and sophomore year pictures from Roger Bacon High School in 1975. You could look that up. It was very heartfelt congratulations and warmth that I felt from the school giving me that honor. I spent that next year at Roger Bacon, but I was not able to conduct sports. And the sponsorship that I got, later I found out from an individual teacher that taught typing classes, Mr. Fenton, that my funds for that school dried up. So at the end of my sophomore year, I needed to make a decision about where I was going to spend the next 2 years of my high school degree. I decided that I would basically cheat the system of the Cincinnati public school systems. And I gave a false address for a school that was across town. I lived in Winton Place, and the school was called Western Hills High School. It was a crazy commitment, but I did it. I used a friend of my older brother's address, and I went to Western Hills High School. But in order to do that, I had to walk from Winton Place to Northside, Knowlton's Corner, take a public public bus, the Montana Avenue bus, to the top of Montana Avenue and Harrison Avenue. From there, I got off and then stayed inside a hallway until the school bus that was assigned to that zip code came along and picked me up and took me to school. I haven't looked up the actual miles, but at minimum, I believe it was 8 to 10 miles. I did that across winter, summer, rain, bad weather, cold weather, because I was absolutely committed to getting a high school diploma. You have to be committed to getting a high school diploma, because that high school diploma will allow you to go to the next step of your education, whether it's technical school, whether it's a 2-year college, whether it's a 4-year college for a bachelor's degree, or whether it's to move beyond a bachelor's degree. Our society requires it, and you have to do it. It's hard work. It's sacrifice. But you have to do it. Because without that educational experience, you will have a difficult life making a reasonable living. And you will have so many doors open for you just by proving that you got your high school education. And again, this conversation is not to talk about higher level education. It's about getting through your high school education. And let me summarize just to be clear. You deserve and require a safe environment to be educated at the high school level. You absolutely have to require of the administrative staffs of the school that you currently enrolled or will be enrolled in, that they take action if you're not in a safe environment. And if they don't take action, then you got to find an alternative. A technical school, a Catholic school, a magnet school, some other alternative so that you can achieve your goals. And that is getting your high school education. Once you get your high school education and you try those different attempts, do not give up. Do not give up. Set your sights on how you're going to get your education from high school. Me, my own experience, because I went to Catholic schools in middle school and 2 years of freshman and sophomore class, I was determined to work. So when I turned 18, having enough credits to graduate, I graduated and signed myself out of high school at 18 years of age in January of 1977. And I started work because I had an offer to go to work running a sorter for, at the time, Central Trust Bank in Cincinnati, Ohio, down off of 4th Street. Working that job was what I had intended. But little did I know that the counselors in high school failed me. And this is the other thing that you have to take responsibility and drive the counselor conversations in high school about your interests. Talk to your counselors that are responsible for your graduation and that are responsible for your class load. Tell them what you want to do. Those counselors are there to help you. My counselors, I remember one time, one conversation that said, do you plan on going to school after high school? Little did I know that I didn't think about that thoroughly, and I told them no. They wasted no time then in really counseling me about college. But here's the learning from that. You need to get a higher level education or a technical college education. If you're like me and you grew up in poverty and you had no money and you had no parents to fund your college education, there is a tremendous, tremendous amount of money available at almost any college in the United States for people who don't have the economic wherewithal to go to school. There are numerous causes for scholarships and grant money. Scholarships related to maybe, in my case, a drunk father and an orphan child with both parents deceased. My counselor should have called that out to me. I should have been given a path to reach out to the local colleges, University of Cincinnati, for example, or other colleges or other educational institutions, to seek financial help, because I came out of the gate without any money, without any parents. And there's millions of dollars left unclaimed or left unapplied for because counselors in high school are not giving you the right direction. Some may be just they don't know. Seek out somebody that does know. Seek out somebody when you're a junior and senior. Seek out somebody to give you counsel from the local universities. Find someone to talk to you.